It is super late on Friday night, and I'm here with my Feel Good Friday for you guys. And I'm going to be talking about a topic that has to do with emotional and mental health today. So, I've already talked about, how to stay happy every day, how to not let just like the normal things in life get to you, and how to get through like a stressful situation when something is like thrust upon you at one point in time. But I just came to the realization that like currently I'm actually having like a little bit of a rough season. It's a little bit of period that I'm in where I've been feeling overwhelmed. And so as usual, I'm always sharing stuff that has to do with me, and basically these are you guys just joining me on my own personal therapy sessions as I try to implement things that I learn. And so realizing that I've been in a really tough season probably since the end of May, and that I need to make sure that I dig deep and get some more strategies to make sure I can keep my head above water. That's what I want to share with you guys today. So, how to get through a tough season, embracing the suck, which comes from The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acorn, and something that we heard last weekend, which is being Flawesome. So, just to share a little bit in the beginning, I looked up I saw this, it's a whole poem, and there's a little excerpt from it that I had gleaned. I used to have these little quotes from songs or poems that I would remind myself are kind of, I don't know, they just resonated with me or something. So this one is actually a poem from Charles Bukowski, and it's an excerpt from his poem called The Shoelace. And this is kind of how my emotions go, which is why I had a while getting to this point. So it says, "It's not the large things that send a man to the madhouse. Death he's ready for, or murder, incest, robbery, fire, flood. No, it's the continuing series of small tragedies that send a man to the madhouse. Not the death of his love, but a shoelace that snaps with no time left." That's kind of how my emotions go. So like last month was super, super, super difficult. And I can't say the last month I did a lot of crying. I felt emotionally overwhelmed. I got to points where even I talked to a couple friends. I talked to some spiritual leaders too. And all that was super, super helpful and helped me, not feel as much overwhelmed. But I didn't really do a lot of crying last month. And I spent a lot of time also just like almost mentally battling with myself and beating myself up, because it's like I had a death in the family, and then I was ruminating over basically anniversaries of things that happened in the past, and it's like nothing really was happening right now, but for whatever reason, me thinking about those things that happened. And so I was having a hard time accepting it myself, because I'm like, well, I got through last year at this time, and I got through the year before, and that should have been like way more heavy. Why am I having such a hard time right now? But last weekend was great and absolutely amazing, but it did end up being like a shoelace weekend for me, because I did a lot of crying. So I'm in the middle of this like amazing, wonderful weekend, and then like Saturday during training especially, like I cried when the Diamonds were speaking. I cried when Heather Brock was talking. I cried on the plane home when I was reading The Compound Effect. And then just this whole week I've just been like crying a lot. So it's like me coming to the realization, okay, like I'm still in this season, in this tough period, and I've been listening to a lot of stuff to make myself mentally strong. Like I listened to The Obstacle's the Way, because I know that like where I am right now, like I'm working so many hours, and it's very difficult and it's very overwhelming. I work 35 to 45 hours a week for GM, and then I do my 20 hours of volunteer Bible preaching, And then I do my side hustle 15 to 20 hours on top of that. And this is the start of my season of my volunteer season. So usually when I'm in the summertime, I can have a little bit more of a break. And so I've been preparing myself to be mentally tough by listening to books like that. And I just got done listening to Girl Wash Your Face, which I was resisting listening to because everybody else is listening to it, and that tends to make me feel like, well, I'm not going to listen to it. But it was actually a perfect follow-up because it was helping. It had a lot of information about accepting and allowing you to get emotionally feel what you need to, because I was wondering when it was called Girl Wash Your Face, I was like, what is she talking about? So she talks about like feeling your emotions and crying it out and doing what you need to, and then washing your face and going and moving on. And that was like part of what I needed to listen to. So I did look up an article from therapists that talked about 14 ways to get through tough times. And so I'm going to share some of those tips, and then I'm going to share some other tools that I'm going to be digging deep into using so that I can continue to make it through this difficult season right now. So the first thing is acknowledge and feel your feelings. So again, that is not something that I do very well. So that's something I do well at all. Wednesday, I did a presentation on the 4 personality types, the DISC personality or the colors or personality plus. And everyone knows that my dominant personality is red or D or choleric. And one of the things that is a key characteristic of them is that they have high ego strength, which I didn't actually know what it meant. And so I looked it up. And so high ego strength is the ability to not lose your identity despite being challenged or going through stress or even trauma. And so that's something that's always been part of my personality, something I've prided myself in, being the tough girl, being the big sister that can take it, and probably another reason why it's been difficult for me to feel my feelings. But again, from listening to the stuff and allowing myself to just be like, okay, this is fine. You get it. This is what you need right now for the next week. Just continue to cry every day if that's what you need to get through this right now. So acknowledging your feelings, because ignoring your emotions is like trying to run away from something that's right on your shoulder. The only way to truly be free is to stop and face your emotions. So at the end it says we should develop a method called TEARS, which is talking, exercising, artistic expression, recording or writing experiences, and sobbing. So you guys know I did another live where I did get a journal. So I do have like a gratitude journal so I can write some stuff down, and I exercise all the time. I'm here with you guys talking about what I'm going through right now. And I've been sobbing like every day since like Friday and Saturday. So acknowledging and feeling your feelings. So I'm doing that. I'm working on that, which is going to help me get through this tough season. The next one is talk about it. When people bottle up challenging situations, the problems grow and mutate into horrible worries and anxieties. So talking about your trouble helps you better understand your own fears, get valuable feedback from others, and listen to others that have probably experienced the same level of distress. So that was one of the reasons why listening to Girl Wash Your Face was really good, because she wrote it in a way that was like me too. She had certain sections on trauma and not feeling worthy and stuff like that. And it was really helpful in helping me like identify those emotions, because I cried pretty much through the whole book too. Try to see past the hardship is number 3. When you're in a crisis, it's hard to see any upside, but with some distance, you may be able to see this situation in a different light. You lost your job? Well, you've lost some in the past and always landed on your feet. You had a fight with your spouse? Well, historically, you tend to bounce back. You had a panic attack? Most of your life hasn't included panic, so we can assume most of your future won't as well. So trying to put things in perspective, prioritize self-care. And this is probably one of the reasons why. So I kind of scheduled too much, which you guys know I tend to do anyways. But so I had that test. So I had all that stress of the test that I was going through. And I like really crammed it more than I should have. Like I just kept like not studying on the weekends like I need to. And I crammed way too much in. And so I didn't get to get my nails done before I left. I didn't do my self-care. So I just did a video on the importance of self-care, so I got to make sure that I regularly do that. Consider if you're experiencing a catastrophe or inconvenience. So nothing in my life right now is a catastrophe. Like I'm overwhelmed like with my house and stuff outside, and it's just an inconvenience, but I'm just ruminating over the stuff that happened in the past and needing to feel my emotions for that. Practice acceptance. So this is another thing that I'm super bad at, right? So let go of that which you cannot control. Start to make a list of everything you don't have control over. During a moment of meditation or prayer, visualize handing those items over to your higher power and letting them go. Then focus on what you can control, like your self-care, your words, your actions, and your decisions. So definitely working on that. Ask for help, which I did too. I talked to a few friends that I needed to, and that did help the end of last month, and I probably need to continue to do that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm on here talking to you guys. So you might assume that you can and should handle this difficult time on your own. And honestly, that has been one of my like greatest struggles right now. Like that's been one of the things that I have just been mentally beating myself up for all the things that I haven't done. Like even like this last weekend, like there was like 3 times where I was like a huge brat, and I'm like, and right after I do it, I just feel like, what is wrong with me? You're an adult. You're not supposed to do that. Like, for instance, like the night that we had the karaoke, I was like bragging to everybody that I'm going to do this and I love performing. And then I got there and they had the most horrible karaoke list ever. And like I got in such a pissy mood, like a 12-year-old, like a child completely. And like I hand wrote what I want to sing still in there. It wasn't on the list. And then I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. And I was like around these other people who were younger than me, and they're like looking at me. And then afterwards I just felt like garbage. I'm like, I'm an adult. Why was I acting like a child? But at the same time, again, like I have all this emotional stuff on top of me, and I know that this was like, it was a shoelace thing. That's how I am. It's like from all the training that I had and all the things that I was thinking about and all my inadequacies that I was just playing through my head, that was just like the shoelace that broke. And it really didn't have to do with anything. But again, with the whole wash your face thing, that's what I have to work on. I have to work on accepting. And the other thing that, was said at the training, we have to be Flawesome. Like we have to accept our flaws and realize that we can still be awesome, even though we're imperfect. And that's something I super have to work on, because I want to operate at 110% all the time. And I include my emotional stability in that. And then when I fail in my emotional stability, then I mentally beat myself up. So the acceptance part is something that I have to work on, and stopping the shoulding of myself, asking for help when I need it, relinquishing control, and getting the support I need. And again, the end of the last month, I did get a lot of support, and that was good. And I need to just continue to ask for that support and let people know what I'm going through. Limit airtime. Number 8 is limit airtime with toxic people. So when you or myself are in these states, then we have to stay away from people that are going to be critical, judgmental, or demanding, because it's going to make us feel more drained and depleted and make us feel worse. So when we're already like struggling emotionally, that's just going to make it worse. Stay grounded in the present. So practice mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, which are really good ways to keep your mind and body together when you're going through a crisis. Number 10, calling into the crisis. So far too often we allow crisis to define our lives and mindsets for way, way too long. We burn out, become more anxious and depressed, and have less energy and focus to find effective solutions. So calling it into the crisis helps you to shift into calmer, more solution-focused state of mind. So then just take action. If you don't know what to do, do something. Make a list, make some phone calls, gather some information. Avoiding situation only adds to your anxiety and what ifs. And that's part of what I tried to do the last few, this week really, when it came to my business, because that's been part of my feeling of overwhelmed. Because again, I'm in this season where I have to do everything. I don't have a break from any of my 3 jobs. I can't take any days off. I can't take every hour counts right now. And so, I feel like there's so much stuff I hadn't been doing with my business that was part of what I was crying about over the weekend, all the failures that I haven't done. And, but I just have to keep doing it. It's I can't, the things that I've slacked on, I can't just do them all immediately. I just I have to do something. And so I played around with my cell phone to figure out how to get group text messages going again, because I had not done that in a while. And then, I got postcards out and I did something and just didn't worry about the things that I couldn't get to this week. Then next one is observe the situation as an outsider. So take a crisis break in which you relax and observe the situation as if you were an outsider, hearing about the circumstance from a friend or coworker. So that was an interesting thing too that actually came up in the book, where she said that think about if you're if you have some self-talk going on or you're doing a certain thing, think about if it was your child or something, would you talk to your child that way, or would you want them doing a certain thing? And for me, it could be my nieces. My nieces are everything to me. So just knowing that I'm not having the negative self-talk to myself that I wouldn't put someone else through. And this one is super important. Remember that you are not your difficult time. You are not your problems or your crisis. You are not your divorce, your illness, your trauma, or your bank account. Your true self is that deeper entity within that is perfectly whole and well, no matter what you are experiencing. So that's something I have to keep meditating on and remind myself of over and over. And remember that everyone heals differently. So remind others that this is your journey. Everyone feels it a different way. Everyone heals a different way. Tough times can be overwhelming and exhausting, and we just need to do what we can to soften the blow. So it's best to fix the roof when the sun is shining. Dealing with our childhood issues, relational issues, or anything else when we're in periods of relative calm may be the best investment in time and effort we can make. And it's something else that she mentioned in the book, her in particular, she had to go through therapy in order to go through some of the other things that came later in her life. So with that, I also still, as usual, as I always do, want to share some other tools that I'll be digging out of my toolbox to help me emotionally, again, as I try to get through this season that I'm having a little bit of trouble with. You guys know in my video that I talk about how to be happy every day, I use the feelings kit, which usually keeps me fairly grounded emotionally. But again, now I'm feeling a little bit more. So I'm going to go, these are not things that I'm going to use every day, but just some extras to throw in there once in a while. So this one actually I got free last month. And this has been in my car, and this is one that I have been using, inhaling a lot to help, and it's called Acceptance. So Acceptance Contains coriander, geranium, and encourages feelings of self-worth when used aromatically. So this is one I have been using fairly regularly. And it has rose in it. So the first time that we have these scans. My scan is out of service right now, and I'm waiting for the new one to come. But we have these scans that do these bio scans, and it tells you like what your body needs. And the first time that I got a scan, rose essential oil came up, which is like the most expensive oil ever. But I have noticed that I tend to absolutely love all of the oils that have rose in it. So it definitely must be something that my body needs on a regular basis. So one of the things that over the past 3 months have been totally happening like all the time is when pretty much every time I'm around a large group of people, I've not wanted to people. Like it's been in a time that I don't want to people. So like I'm going to be using gathering so that I can try to people a little bit better when those times come around. And so gathering says for that one, features a blend of aromas that invites you to overcome the chaotic energy of everyday life and keeps you on the path to achievement. So gathering before I people will help. Gratitude. So gratitude fosters a grateful attitude and helps you embrace the blessings in your life. The uplifting aroma of gratitude invites a feeling of emotional and spiritual progress. So that's another one that I will be using once in a while. Grounding. So grounding is a balancing blend of scents used for feelings of clarity or to enhance spirituality. And then one that has always been one of my favorites for emotional stability and calming, peace and calming. Can't live without peace and calming. I really honestly haven't been using it that much, but I'm going to make sure that I have it when I go out of town for sure. So peace and calming provides a soothing and relaxing atmosphere when diffused, added to bath, or during meditation and yoga. When applied topically, peace and calming may improve the appearance of skin and support a healthy glow. And then the next one is Sarah. This is actually what I have diffusing right now, Sarah. And so Sarah says, Sarah is a blend of geranium, ylang-ylang, rose, blue tansy, and other oils that is designed as a soothing scent to be used during difficult or emotional times. So again, diffusing this right now because I knew even just getting through this live was going to be difficult for me. But y'all know I got to keep it real all the time and I got to share what's on my heart that day and share what I'm going through in the hopes that at least one person will see this and it may help them. Surrender. This is another one that I haven't been, I do have someone here. This is one that like when my mind is racing and I can't sleep and I just am like, because I will get in these moods where like I can't sleep, my mind is racing and I'm like trying to force myself to be productive, but I don't have the energy to be productive, and then I'll end up just like staying up for no reason, doing absolutely nothing, like scrolling the internet. Surrender is one that will help me to like take that down. It has Roman chamomile and German chamomile in it. So Surrender is a blend of lavender, black spruce, Roman chamomile, and other essential oils that provides aroma to help cast off inhibitions that may be controlling your life or limiting your potential. So Surrender. And then the last one, Trauma Life. And Trauma Life, I don't know why, but this just smells super amazing to me. Trauma Life. And this is another one that has rose in it. So again, all the ones that have rose in it, my body is just like, just loves them. And Trauma Life is a natural blend of pure sandalwood, helichrysum, rose, and other essential oils designed to offer support during difficult emotional exploration. So those are my extra like secret weapons that I'm going to start carrying with me so that I can continue in this healing process and going through this difficult emotional times, as well as use those 14 strategies that I talked about. So that's all that I have to share with you guys today. As usual, I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate anyone that's joined me on Instagram. Surrender is super good for sleep. Actually, Surrender and Peace and Calming were amazing for my toddler nephew, for helping him go to sleep. Like, so high strung children and adults, if again, like I was saying, when I am like super high strung mentally, it helps shut my brain off, and it is definitely good for helping me sleep, because chamomile does help me sleep, and it has those 2 chamomiles in there, so I do love that. I was answering a question on Instagram. So again, thank you guys for joining me. Always greatly, greatly appreciate it. And again, if you know of someone that needs this information, like they are not just having a bad day or a bad week, but they're just in struggle mode. They're barely being able to keep their head above water, because that's what's been happening to me since the end of May, unfortunately. Please share this video with them so that they can get some other strategies, and then hopefully you can talk to them and help them out. And if someone has shared this video with you and you have any interest in the other, like I said, secret weapons that I talked about, please get with that person. If I happen to be that person, then as usual, please direct message me, talk to me anytime so that I can help you and get some of that information to you. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful, amazing, and awesome day, and talk to you soon. Bye.